On the night of November 2nd, 2025, the quiet of northern Ukraine was shattered by the distant, ominous hum of Russian bombers. The moon hung low, casting a cold silver glow over the countryside as the world below braced for what was coming. In the darkness, the silhouettes of warplanes cut across the sky, signaling the start of a new and dangerous phase in the conflict. 4 Tu-22M3s, each loaded with deadly Kh-32 cruise missiles, streaked toward their targets with chilling precision. Fuel depots and radar sites that were absolutely critical to Ukraine's defense network. These bombers, flying in tight formation, represented the cutting edge of Russia's long-range strike capability, and their mission was clear: to cripple Ukraine's ability to see and respond. The launch was a calculated show of force, a demonstration of Russia's willingness to escalate and exploit its long-range aviation assets. The message was unmistakable. Nowhere in Ukraine was truly safe from the reach of Russian firepower. Ukrainian early warning systems, ever vigilant, detected the incoming threat. Alarms blared across airbases and cities as hypersonic missiles closed in, giving defenders only moments to react. The tension in command centers was palpable as operators tracked the missiles' relentless approach. The Kh-32s, flying high and fast at supersonic speeds, were nearly impossible to intercept. Their advanced guidance systems and blistering velocity left Ukrainian air defenses scrambling, with little hope of stopping the onslaught before impact. Explosions erupted across northern Ukraine, lighting up the night as fuel depots ignited into towering fireballs and radar sites were silenced in seconds. The shockwaves rippled through the countryside, leaving devastation in their wake and plunging entire regions into chaos. The strike crippled Ukraine's logistics and air defense infrastructure, a brutal reminder of Russia's reach and the vulnerability of even the most fortified positions. Supply lines were severed, and the eyes of Ukraine's defenders were suddenly blinded. As the bombers turned for home, the mission was not yet over. 1 Tu-22M3 reported engine trouble, its crew anxiously monitoring gauges as they requested urgent aerial refueling over southern Belarus. The situation was tense. Every second in hostile airspace increased the risk of interception. This seemingly routine request, triggered by a minor malfunction, would set the stage for an unexpected confrontation. The need to refuel in contested skies would soon draw attention from both friend and foe. The bombers' return was fraught with risk. Fuel running low, enemy air defenses on high alert, and the sky far from safe. Every mile home was a gamble, with the threat of Ukrainian retaliation looming large. For Ukraine, the devastation was another night of terror, but also a catalyst for a bold response. Civilians huddled in shelters, emergency crews raced to burning sites, and military planners began to plot their next move. The Russian crews, focused on their return, were unaware that their actions had just exposed a critical vulnerability, a weakness that Ukraine would soon seek to exploit. The war in the air was about to change, and both sides would soon find themselves facing new and unexpected dangers. The Kh-32 cruise missile is a defender's nightmare. Launched at high altitude, it represents one of the most advanced threats on the modern battlefield. Designed specifically to evade interception, it combines speed, altitude, and maneuverability in a way that makes it extremely difficult to counter. After launch, the missile climbs rapidly to 40 kilometers, well into the stratosphere, where few air defense systems can reach. It then accelerates to Mach 5 times the speed of sound, making it nearly impossible for most radars to track and for interceptors to catch. Ukrainian air defenses, a mix of aging Soviet-era systems and more modern Western equipment, struggled to track and engage such a fast, high-flying target. Their radars, optimized for lower and slower threats, were simply not designed for this kind of missile. The missile's steep terminal dive, coming almost vertically at incredible speed, left defenders with only seconds to react, far too little time to lock on, launch an interceptor, and hope for a hit. The margin for error was virtually zero. Even the best interceptors, including Ukraine's most advanced fighter jets, had almost no chance. The Kh-32's unique speed and unpredictable flight profile exploited every gap in Ukraine's layered defenses, rendering traditional interception tactics ineffective. Not a single missile was shot down that night. The sky remained empty of interceptors, and the aftermath was a sobering reminder of the challenge posed by such advanced weaponry. The strike exposed a critical vulnerability. While Ukraine had become adept at countering drones and subsonic cruise missiles, hypersonic threats like the Kh-32 were a different league entirely, requiring new solutions. This wasn't a failure of skill or bravery on the part of Ukraine's defenders, but a stark reminder of the technological imbalance they face. The defenders did everything they could, but the tools at their disposal were simply outmatched. The lesson was clear. New strategies, better training, and advanced technologies were urgently needed to close the gap. Without them, the risk of future successful strikes would only grow. The battlefield had evolved, and so must the defenders. Only by adapting quickly can they hope to protect their skies against the next generation of threats. For Russia's bombers, aerial refueling is essential. Without it, deep strikes into Ukraine would be impossible. The Ilyushin Il-78 tanker, Russia's flying gas station, extends the range and endurance of heavy bombers like the Tu-22M3. Refueling is a high-risk ballet, massive planes, tight formations, and vulnerable moments in the sky. These operations occur in safe corridors over Belarus, far from enemy fighters, at least in theory. The pattern is predictable. Bombers strike, then rendezvous with Il-78s for the fuel needed to return home. This logistical chain is the lifeblood of Russia's air campaign. The tankers are the hidden artery. Without them, the bombers are grounded. But predictability breeds vulnerability. Ukraine was watching and waiting. While Russian bombers dominated headlines, Ukraine's intelligence services hunted for weaknesses. They tracked the Il-78 tankers, mapping every refueling corridor and timing. Reconnaissance drones gathered data, building a detailed picture of Russian aerial logistics. Analysts identified patterns. Refueling always occurred over southern Belarus, at predictable times after each strike. This intelligence was fed into predictive models, allowing Ukraine to forecast the next operation with uncanny accuracy. The tankers became the true high-value targets. Ukraine didn't need to shoot down bombers. They could sever the supply line. The sky became a chessboard, and Russia's moves were now visible. The trap was set. The next Russian refueling mission would not go unchallenged. Armed with precise intelligence, Ukraine's command faced a fateful choice. The plan sent drones deep into defended airspace to strike the tankers. The risks were enormous: loss of drones, escalation, and fierce Russian retaliation. But the reward? Crippling Russia's long-range air campaign for months. Debate raged. Some urged caution, others argued inaction was deadlier. The Russian air defenses were formidable, but Ukraine's plan relied on deception, timing, and electronic warfare, not brute force. As a damaged Tu-22M3 requested priority refueling, the decision was made. The order went out: target the tankers. Drones were prepped, operators ready. The operation began, a calculated gamble that could change the war's course. Ukraine would strike not at the fist, but at the artery that kept it clenched. The countdown to the ambush had begun. Ukraine's attack began with deception. A swarm of decoy drones mimicked a massive assault, drawing Russian air defenses into action. Russian S-400s and Pantsirs fired volley after volley, depleting their ready missiles on Phantoms. For crucial minutes, the real threat went unnoticed. Next, Ukrainian electronic warfare blinded Russian escort fighters, flooding their radars with static and false targets. The defensive bubble around the tankers collapsed. Ground crews were reloading, fighters were flying blind. In the chaos, Russia's situational awareness vanished. The stage was set for the real strike. The defenders, distracted and disarmed, never saw what was coming. The ambush was about to begin. Out of the confusion and chaos of the battlefield, Ukrainian strike drones surged forward, their movements silent and undetected beneath the cover of darkness. The night sky, thick with tension, became their ally as they slipped past enemy lines, guided by skilled operators who had waited for this precise moment. Operators, working in perfect coordination, locked onto their high-value targets: 2 Il-78 tankers and a Tu-22M3 bomber, all caught in the vulnerable act of mid-air refueling. The Russian crews, focused on their delicate operation, had no idea that danger was closing in. With a series of rapid commands, laser-guided munitions were unleashed, streaking through the night toward the exposed aircraft. The precision of the attack left no room for error. The first Il-78 erupted in a massive fireball, its jet fuel igniting the darkness and sending a shockwave across the sky. The explosion illuminated the battlefield, a signal that the mission had begun in earnest. Just seconds later, the second tanker was struck. Flames engulfed the aircraft as it spiraled out of control, its destruction sealing the fate of the refueling mission. The Tu-22M3, caught in the spreading inferno, broke apart mid-air. Pieces of the bomber rained down, trailing fire as the once mighty aircraft fell helplessly from the sky. In less than a minute, the very core of Russia's refueling mission was annihilated. The loss was immediate and catastrophic, leaving only burning wreckage behind. Escort fighters, still blinded by electronic jamming and the sudden chaos, were powerless to intervene. They circled helplessly, unable to protect the vital assets now lost. As quickly as they had arrived, the Ukrainian drones turned away, vanishing into the darkness. Their mission was complete, leaving confusion and devastation in their wake. The ambush was total, 3 massive aircraft lost in a single coordinated strike. The Russian air campaign suffered a devastating blow, its logistics crippled in an instant. Ukraine had struck at the very heart of the enemy's logistics, sending a clear message about the reach and precision of its forces. The sky over Belarus burned with the evidence of this daring assault, a night that would be remembered as a turning point in the conflict. The destruction sent shockwaves through Russian forces. Escort pilots, regaining their senses, saw only chaos, fireballs, debris, and confusion. Their mission had failed spectacularly. The tankers and bomber were gone. Russian air defenses, having wasted missiles on decoys, were powerless to respond. The remaining bombers aborted their refueling, forced to divert with dangerously low fuel. Ukrainian drones slipped away, their mission complete. On the ground, Russian commanders scrambled to understand what had happened. The ambush was a stunning success. Precision, deception, and timing had triumphed. Ukraine's operators watched their drones return, the fires fading behind them. The war in the air had shifted. Russia was left to count its losses. The loss of 2 Il-78 tankers and a Tu-22 M3 bomber was a strategic disaster for Russia. Their limited tanker fleet was crippled, slashing their ability to launch deep strikes. Refueling operations were forced far east, reducing bomber range and tempo. Ukraine had exploited a single point of failure, using intelligence and technology to outmaneuver brute force. The ambush became a case study in modern asymmetric warfare. Large, non-stealthy support aircraft were now prime targets in drone-saturated skies. The era of safe rear area operations was over. Air power's future would be decided not by dogfights, but by who could blind and starve the enemy's logistics. The spear's tip is only as strong as the shaft that supports it.